One of the biggest hang-ups that I keep seeing people run into in our fitness culture is they put way too much thought and attention towards little trivial things that don't really matter very much, while ignoring or pulling their attention away from the most important stuff that really is responsible for the majority of their success. So let me put this graphically on how this whole thing works. Remember, fitness is not controlled by our beliefs, it's not controlled by our products, our workout, our diet, or anything like that. Fitness is a product of Mother Nature, and we live in a duality universe, meaning we have yin and yang. So the principles that are in control of your weight, your muscle, your strength, and your functional abilities depend on the relationship between two forces, input and output, to be very general about it. Calories in, calories out. Training stimulus versus training adaptation. So it's the relationship of these forces that's responsible. It's not any one thing. And what ends up happening is so much of our attention is getting pulled off of this and out and away from it, because each half of our principle branches out into various influences, kind of like branches on a tree. So let's take training adaptation, for example. And one of the biggest, most important parts of training adaptation is sleep. Sleep is incredibly important. You want to make your training better, get really good sleep, right? But when we look at sleep, we can branch that out into several other influences. You've got how long are you sleeping? When are you sleeping? When are you waking up? Are you waking up with an alarm clock? What's the chime on your alarm clock, right? Is it something that's just suddenly waking you up with a jarring jolt? Or is it something that's lulling you out of sleep in a more comfortable way? But the problem we're facing these days is that so much of our attention is out here in the periphery, in the very distal influences, the small trivial ones. And the reason for that is because this stuff is the flashy stuff. This is the weird tricks. This is the 10 secrets you won't believe. This is also the stuff you can buy. This is the YouTube videos. This is the books. This is the gadgets and gizmos and supplements and powders and all these sorts of things. That's all out here because it's easy to throw this stuff around and hope something kind of sort of sticks. But meanwhile, the stuff here, it's really hard to sell this stuff. Sell both you on spending your money and your attention, because this stuff is the stuff that you learned watching Sesame Street. Right? What's going to be better food for a diet to improve training adaptation? Whole foods, lean meats, chicken, fruits, vegetables, or fast food, right? Obviously, it's like we all know this. This we know for sure. This stuff, it's like, well, what's better, pea protein or whey protein? Chances are it really doesn't matter very much, but that's where our attention is. And as a result, we're ignoring the stuff that's most important. Our attention's also getting driven out here because this is where the elite level stuff is. These small little trivial things don't matter for most of us because we're still not getting this stuff. If your sleep sucks, your training's inconsistent, and you're not really focusing on progression and quality technique in the gym, this stuff isn't really gonna do anything for you. So we're pulling our attention away because this is what the elite athletes are doing. If you're a top level athlete, the type of protein supplement you use can make a difference because it's that 0.001% difference that can make the difference between winning or losing. But for the average individual, it really isn't going to matter very much because we're still not getting this stuff taken care of. Lastly, sometimes influences aren't trivial, though they may seem like it. So like whey protein versus pea protein, or should you even do whey protein at all, right? Now don't go to the internet for these kinds of answers because there's no way in hell anybody knows that. You'll find lots of opinions, but opinions aren't really worth anything because experience is the only thing you're going to really learn from. So if you're sitting back and going like, I wonder if I'm better off with a whey protein supplement, just go. Chances are trivial influences, see I can't talk, out here, they're not going to matter one way or the other very much. So if it works for you, it's going to work in such a small way, it's no real big deal. But if it is a bad thing, like I don't want to mess up, it's probably going to be such a small little thing, it's really not going to matter either way. So there's very risk in trying the small stuff that may or may not really make much difference. But the thing to keep in mind is the stuff that makes the most difference is the stuff that makes the most difference. So you try whey protein, let's say, in 2 weeks, you should come back to me and say, holy smokes, that was such a game changer. That radically improved my workouts. I can't even tell you. That's how you know if something actually works. Like when I tried overcoming isometrics. Boom, in a week, I was like, wow, this is way better. That makes a difference. But after a couple of weeks of trying something and you're like, it probably doesn't really matter very much. You got a lot of flexibility with this stuff too. Should you do whey protein? Should you work out in the morning or the night and stuff? A lot of flexibility. It probably doesn't matter one way or the other unless it matters to you. Try, experiment. If it matters, you'll know it. If it doesn't, you won't tell anything. But the stuff here matters the most, and that's the stuff we have to focus most of our attention on. I hope that gives you something to think about over the weekend. If you want to learn more about these principles, check out my book, Fitness Independence. It's all about the principles of fitness and some of the biggest influences you should be paying attention to have the most control over those principles and get the results you want as well. Thank you very much for watching. Be fit, live free.